living with pain or they work with people who live with chronic pain. And we're kind of looking at somatic practices. So many of you here will know what somatic practices are, but just in case, we spent a long time in the pain network trying to figure out how to define what somatic practices are. I think some elements that we're interested in are around, kind of sensing your own body and kind of finding your own sense of authority in your own feeling of your own body, as well as how you interact with the environment around you. So sensing the space and being aware of your own movement in space. So I know Dieter will introduce his own way of working as well. So I just wanted to give that little snapshot of our understanding of somatic practices. So we've experimented with different forms, and one of the things that we introduced was this idea of the movement snack. So if someone has chronic pain and maybe they're at home, they can't go to a class, they still want to keep moving, then we want to offer something short that people can do at home. So yeah, we've had kind of ones of varying lengths. And today we were in touch with Dieter Rehberg, if I can pronounce it the right way, um, to kind of see about his approach and what he might share. And it kind of sparked this discussion amongst the board members around what does the word healing mean? And we all have different ideas. For some people, healing is a quite dramatic change from how they feel in one moment to the next, or it might mean just learning to live well with something. So healing can have all sorts of meanings. So we thought that would be really interesting to explore today, with Dieter's work, because he uses the word healing. Um, so I think that's kind of the main introduction I wanted to make, and Dieter's going to kind of introduce himself and his own practice. So I'm really grateful, Dieter, for you offering this, and making it available free of charge to everyone who's come along today. So welcome to everyone. I hope you enjoy it. So the structure is a bit like Dieter will do a bit of introducing of his approach, then we'll experience it, and then we might talk about our experiences of it, and then we'll have more of a discussion around the word healing and what it might mean to each of you as well. So I'm going to hand over to Dieter and enjoy participating myself. So thank you, Dieter.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. Thank you for inviting me for this movement snack. My name is Dieter Rehberg. I'm Austrian, living in the eastern part of Austria, close to Hungary. My background is in dance and performance. Before I specialized in somatics. I'm a master of somatic movement education and master of somatic movement therapy, accredited by ISMETA. I'm also a somatic practitioner from the United States Association for Body Psychotherapy, because I'm also trained as a psychological counselor. I'm also massage therapist. I have a formal training in Buddhist theory and practice. So a lot of things came together until I, 20 years ago, coined my own work, also because it didn't fit anymore into the other methods, because I was mixing around, and then at a certain moment I was asking myself, so what am I actually doing it and how am I doing it? And when I then looked around, I saw, well, there are some features that are really unique to my approach. So I coined it Physio-mentale Entwicklung, as my first language is German, which means physio-mental development or disentanglement. So when I wrote this healing self-organization as title to Emma, I did it very innocently, because I'm using the word healing quite a long time, because I also have my explanation and my reason for that. And then it seemed like it sparked a big discussion. So I'm glad to talk about that. And I did prepare a mind map, my thoughts about healing and how they connect to the principles and keystones of my work. So I will share my screen and lead you through this mind map, but I have to do some changes here. So do you see this mind map? Good, great. So healing, some thoughts on the word, because it's related to whole health and also holistic. Interesting for me as a German speaker is that in German, we only have one word for both English words, curing and healing. But in English, curing means something different than healing. I also use the word healing as it's an important word for Buddhist theory for one Pali word, Aya, which is translated in different ways. Often it's translated as noble. It can be translated as helpful and healing, but also it can be translated as beautiful. And these are what the Buddhists say, mind factors, quality of perceptions that we can train ourselves in order to then have helpful and healing developments. That's why I use quite a lot the word healing. But then when I was studying all kind of methods, I always was told only medical doctors are allowed to heal. And nobody else. And as I'm a curious person, I looked that up in Austrian law. So what does the law actually say? And this was very interesting because in Austrian law about medical doctors, they do not talk at all about healing or curing. They define what the medical doctors are allowed to do as they're allowed to diagnose and treat diseases. And then I was said, well, great. I'm not diagnosing diseases and I'm also not treating diseases because I'm treating people. I'm not treating diseases, I'm treating people, which relates again to a more holistic approach and also which allows to use the word healing because it's not forbidden by law, although medical doctors claim that it is, but it is not. So it would be good, as you, I think, all from the UK, to look into the laws there, how this is described. Then I was looking up some definitions of healing, and they are also quite different to this medical system of diagnosing and treating diseases. So in the Cambridge Dictionary, it says healing is the process of becoming well again, especially after a cut or other injury, or of making someone well again. So it has the word well, which is also interesting. So when are we well and when are we not well? In PubMed, the definition is healing is a positive, subjective, unpredictable, and this is also interesting, positive, subjective, and unpredictable process involving transformation to a new sense of wholeness, spiritual transcendence, and reinterpretation of life. So this is also quite interesting, as it also doesn't state anything about diseases. and it has this transformation to a new sense of wholeness and spiritual transcendence. I can send a PDF of that to all your addresses. Then you don't have to write and listen without stress. So then I found a research conducted by Dr. Agnew from Vancouver Medical University, because he stated that there is no clear definition of healing in the medical world, but he wanted to find out. So he conducted a qualitative research and made interviews with medical doctors, how they would define healing, and he made his conclusion out of that, which is also interesting. I will cite a little bit. So he says medicine is traditionally considered a healing profession, but it has neither an operational definition of healing nor an explanation of its mechanisms beyond the physiological processes related to curing. So he makes the differentiation between curing and healing. So then he did his research, and his results were from these medical doctors. They say healing was associated with themes of wholeness, narrative, and spirituality. Healing is an intensely personal, subjective experience involving a reconciliation of the meaning an individual ascribes to distressing events with his or her perception of wholeness as a person. So intensely personal and subjective is also very important then for my approach. And his conclusions are: healing may be operationally defined as the personal experience of the transcendence of suffering. So transcendence of suffering, which is again for me close to what Buddhists want to do. They want to liberate people, or give the tools to people that they can liberate themselves from suffering. So suffering we have in here, and the transcendence of suffering. And physicians can enhance their abilities as healers by recognizing, diagnosing, minimizing, and relieving suffering, as well as helping patients transcend suffering. So for him, diagnosing is still in there. But I found this also an interesting study. Then what really opened my eyes from how we could use healing were the three traditions of healing. And this derives from Susan Weed, an American activist and author. And she wrote the book Healing Wise. And in this book, she's defining three different traditions of healing. She is describing a mechanistic natural science tradition of healing, a heroic guru tradition of healing, and the wise women tradition of healing that is more about care. And each of them has different features that are often opposing each other. And I will not go very deep into that, just some features for each tradition, but that's describing then where I see my work mostly. So we have the mechanistic natural sciences that do diagnose and treat diseases. And they have the metaphor that the body is a machine that can be repaired like in a surgery. And everything is measurable. And if something isn't measurable, it's not there. So the power and knowledge is in the numbers. And then something that can be an advantage or a disadvantage is that it has to work for everybody. at any time. So we know mostly what this is. We did experience it also. Then she defines the heroic tradition of healing. And here you follow the rules of the guru, of the charismatic of the charismatic healer, and this person gives you a promise of healing, and you have to follow these rules. And that's why the power and the knowledge is in the guru healer. And how do you heal? Mostly by cleaning, by the metaphor of cleaning the body or inhibit something that is bad in the body. So the body is often seen as evil and dirty. So it's a lot in body work, this tradition. I would also see very classical psychoanalysis to be in this tradition. And and a lot of different methods are in this tradition. Also, sometimes somatics can be transmitted in this tradition. Then we have the third tradition of healing, which Susan Weed calls the wise women tradition. And there, they say the body is wise, and through presence and changing the environment and setting, there can be a self-organization happening that is healing. And in this tradition, we are promoting health, which is different to diagnosing and treating diseases. We are thinking about health. And that's why it's a very individual process, and it doesn't fit to all. And the power and knowledge is in the body of the client and the patient. Also, it has a social support in circle culture where everybody, the expression of everybody is treated equally. And this all is promoting health and self-organization. So the traditions of nursing, midwifery, doula are very much in there, but I also see a lot of somatic work working like this. And I also see most of my work more into this tradition of healing. What is important for me is to also see it as a tradition of healing, because most of the time only these two traditions call themselves healer and we are healing, or this machine is healing. And this is most of the time also invisible. It's caring, but it's very important, and it can be seen as an own tradition of healing. And if we talk about promoting health, then we also have to look what is health. So in the World Health Organization's definition, it's the biopsychosocial, spiritual, or even more well-being, and it's the individual well-being of all of that. So it's also holistic, and it's individual, and it's well-being. And this is also different than a disease or treating a disease. And also, as it is individual, it is more connected to the wise women tradition and to promoting health. So I defined my work before I even know anything about the traditions of healing. I was very glad when I was got to read this book. But I defined my work and how I wanted to work because of the experience that I got, and also because of, I would say, political reasons. I didn't want the guru healer that is there that easily could abuse his or her power. And that's why I came close to that tradition. So what is this PME? Physiomental development or disentanglement. So the aim is a helpful development and a healing development. So I put really the aim in the name. So why are we doing that? Helpful development would be to improve performance so that dancers could dance better or things like that. And healing for me is really to relieve pain and suffering. In the other definitions, there was most of the time about relief of suffering, but I also, for me, it's relieve the physical pain. And there I do connect to this chronic pain network. It's a somatic method, which means the tools, the most important tools are sensing the body, moving and touching, and sharing is also another important also healing tool, as it is also defined in the wise women tradition. I was defining principles and keystones because in all this sensing and moving and touching, there are different disciplines. There's the coaching, there's the anatomical embodiment, there's the dance, there's the body work. And in all of them, there are the same principles and keystones. Also, it enables me and my students to be creative in there as long as they are working with the principles and the keystones. So, what are the principles? And as you see, the network towards the wise women tradition. So, the principles are that it is process-oriented. We follow the process of the client. It's client-centered, and also the circle culture comes into this so that every student, every participant of a class does have a word. Then very important, because sometimes this is in opposite of also somatic methods, the solution is in the body. And the solution is not in the mind of the healer. And the solution is not in the book of the method. And this is very important. And we trust the body. But when it's in there, how do we find out what the solution is? And that comes then to the keystones. We have to ask the body every time again to find out its very individual solutions. Also, this is in opposite of some psychotherapy. We are supporting resources and promoting health, which means we are trying to look and move towards what feels pleasant. We do not go into the pain. Some healing methods say, you have to go into the pain and look there exactly, and this should be helpful. Also in trauma research, they found out this can be really, really re-traumatizing. Yeah. So anyway, 20 years ago, for me, it was quite obvious, go for what feels good and trust the body that the body can find what feels good. So from these principles, there are some keystones of how we work, which are also very much connected. Can we see that? Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. Here we can see the connections. So quality of perception. All the somatic methods somehow deal with sensing the body. Some try to define already qualities, like in Traeger, they say you have to be hooked up. Some use the word kind sensing. I found Buddhist psychology, and they have a very technical and a very sophisticated concept of quality of perception. And they say we can either sense and perceive in helpful and healing ways, or in ways that are not helpful and healing. For instance, I can sense my body mindfully and with compassion and carefully, or I can sense my body with a lot of ambition. And for the Buddhists, ambition is a quality that is not helpful and healing. But for instance, when you're a professional dancer, it's only about ambition. You want to reach this and that. And this is not really, doesn't really make a helpful change in your body. Then how do we find out what the solution is? I call this the somatic dialogue, where we ask the body and where we listen to the answer. In the experiential part that will follow here, we will go into that. I will lead you step by step how to sense and ask your own body and ask where does it need attention and what does it need there. Yeah? And then self-organization is happening. And most of the time, this can be experienced quite directly. So when we ask in that way, then something is changing in the body. A movement is happening, the tension is changing, temperature is changing, or a feeling is coming up. Something is changing. And that is the self-organization that is going on all the time. But because of how and what we are asking, we bring the self-organization into a helpful and healing direction. Important is that the self-organization is from within and on its own, because in psychology, self-organization is sometimes used as my mind try to control my feelings. And it's not the way I'm using it here, and it's also not the way how it is used in the wise women tradition. That's why I have to add from within on its own, which is in a way dangerous. We do not control for a little bit, for a little while, this process. We need to trust our bodies, but we trust it because the body also knows what the body needs to feel better. And last but not least is reflection and sharing. So this is also very important. In a lot of somatic methods, it isn't there. It's big in psychotherapy. That's mostly what you do in psychotherapy. But in most of the somatic methods and in most of body work, you do not reflect and share what happened to you. And this is also an important part, to be listened for whatever happened there. Yeah? So, lots of talking. Yeah, maybe let's open this for questions before we go into the experiential side. And also, we don't have that much time. I see some clapping. Thank you, Emma.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Thanks so much. I wish we had loads more time. I'm just wondering if we should go into the experiential because of time. I don't know what other people are feeling.
Yeah, I'm open for that. Before we do that, one big request. For my work, it's important to have a good environment, because a good environment is already a tool of healing. And a good environment is a safe environment. And it's safe when we see each other. So I'm asking also everybody to switch on their camera so that we see each other in how we are, with all the stains on the clothes and the bad hair days and whatever is there. And when we see and appreciate each other mindfully and compassionate, this is already a healing tool. Yeah. So we have Sarah Reed, Natalie Garrett, Lynn Westmoreland, and Emmy Warris. especially to all of you, could you please also, yes, hello, Lynn, switch on your...
I'm just aware as well that we're recording, so some people may have
Yes.
wanted to
So
switch.
I also know sometimes you say, no, never ever I show myself today. But there's a recording, so you can watch it tomorrow. I will send it out to all the addresses, but it really makes a difference. Hello. Yes, we are nearly there. And also to make it a safe place, just a very, very quick round where you just say your name and where you are. So, and I will call you out. Emma, where are you right now?
I am in Folkestone, Kent.
And also please say your name, Loop Dance. We can't hear you for whatever reason. So, hello, Loop Dance. Penny.
Hello, yes, I'm Penny and I'm from Morecambe in Lancashire.
Thank you, Penny. Heidi Chen.
I'm in Liverpool. I'm Heidi.
Thank you, Heidi. Michaela, I guess. Where are you?
Hi, I'm Michela. I'm from Turin in Italy.
Thank you. Nicola Smith.
Hello, I'm Nicola. I'm from Stamford in Lincolnshire and I'm currently in central Portugal.
Thank you, Nicola. Eileen or Eileen?
Yes, it's Elena. Hello. I'm Dutch and I live in France, so I'm somewhere between Paris and Nantes at the moment.
Thank you. Gladys.
Hello, I'm Gladys, and I'm in Eldorado Park in South Africa.
Hello to South Africa. Lynn.
Yeah, hi, Lynn. I live in near Glastonbury in Somerset in the UK.
Thank you, Lynn. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I live just outside Stratford upon Avon.
Thank you, Sarah. Natalie.
Hi, Natalie. I'm in Coventry at the moment in the UK.
Thank you, Natalie. And Amy.
Hello, I'm in Manchester in the north of England.
Hello, Amy. Also in my room is my longtime assistant, Julia, because I found out I teach much better if there is somebody present with me in the room, which now is also in the wise women tradition. If there is the presence of somebody else, then something positive is happening. So great, everybody is visible. I really like that. So what I will do is I will start with 3 little exercises that brings you in the room and then into your body. And then I will lead you through a step-by-step approach of asking your body and waiting for the self-regulation. And we will do this step-by-step approach 3 times. It's like very short, between 3 and 5 minutes each, but you do it again. And in the end, we will share and we'll see. We are not that many, so I guess we can share. Everybody can say some words. Okay, you need a little space to move, not very much, but you need a space to move. We will not go down to the floor. We will do everything standing up, and it's good when we see each other approximately. So no danger here. It's a safe space. I will share some music so that it's easier to move. I also have to change my camera so that you see more of us moving. So please stand up and walk through your space and look around. What is in your space right now? Curious with curiosity, look around, and we will warm up our perception. So try to perceive everything that you see mindfully and with compassion. How would that be? On top of, I should clean up here or I should do this work, perceive everything mindfully and with compassion. Feel free to sigh, yawn, breathe, make sounds with your voice. This helps us in sensing and arriving. Good. And take some steps backwards through your space and notice, what do you see when you walk backwards? Maybe this is different. Usually the perception changes when we are walking backwards. In the same way, the quality of our perception can change. So can you apply mindfulness and compassion to whatever you see? And breathe and make sounds. Good. And then walk forward again, spread out your arms and bring your body in this space. So how wide are you? How tall are you? Where are the borders of your body and the borders of this room? Still perceive with compassion whatever is there. Good. And now, in a standing position, bring your attention inside your body and start moving, stretching out or folding in. Free movement that moves the whole body, but you are sensing inside, into the space of your body, and you also try to sense mindfully and compassionately. Is this possible? Is this easier or harder than perceiving the space? Also, where are the pleasant places and where are maybe the places of pain? Where are the joys? Everything you can appreciate and sense with compassion. And start also asking, what does the body need? And it's a kind of semi-automatic movement from the sensation. Breathe. Breathing helps. Sighing helps sensing. Good. And then in standing, start swaying from side to side, bringing the weight on one leg and then on the other leg, and stay with the inside sensation, but maybe the more fine, refined sensing. So what is moving inside there, and how is it with this pressure from the floor, with gravity, with your strength? How are your inner organs? Perceive all of that mindfully and compassionately. And then ask your body for a balanced position that comes as self-organization from the inside. So, how is your body reacting on this question of having a good, pleasurable balance, uprightness, alignment, which is maybe movement? Good. And here, now, ask your body where your body needs attention now. Decide for an area and sense it mindfully and compassionate. If you want, you can touch. If you want and can, you can touch this area. For instance, I chose my lower back, a place that I can touch. Now stay with your area, sense it mindfully and compassionately, and maybe something is changing under your hands, maybe not. And if something is changing, observe that, follow that. Let it happen. And now intentionally start to move slowly and gently from that area. So we are adding in more movement as a tool. But observe yourself still mindfully and compassionately and ask, what does it need there? And your movement is the tool to deliver that a little bit. So what movement does it need so that this place feels more pleasant? Keep moving and sensing, asking this question and listening to the decisions that come into your movement. And is something developing, changing there? Look for the positive changes. Also notice what is happening in your feelings and thoughts. Also move them. Appreciate whatever comes up and move towards your resource, to the pleasant places. Open now your attention to your whole body. Full body movement, full body awareness. So how does this area connect and communicate with the rest of the body? Is there support? Through that, come again to a full body movement, following what feels good and observing yourself trustfully, kindly, and with compassion. Good, okay. Then let's step out of the immediate process and take some steps again through the space. A little time of reflection. What happened? How are you now? Did anything change or not? So that also your cognitive part of your mind can believe what was there. And then let's go through this process again, but let's choose a different place in your body. So again, from a balanced position, ask your body again, where does it need attention right now? Choose a new place. Put the attention there, sense mindfully and compassionately. If you can and want, touch this place. And start from not moving and sensing with compassion, so that any reaction really can come from within and on its own. So sensing with compassion and listening to your body. What maybe wants to change? And support this change. And here again, add in slow and gentle movement that is supporting this development and is also looking for pleasant places. Again, notice, are there any feelings and thoughts connected? Also move them. What does this area need? Feel healthier. Trust that your body knows and can move in ways that are supporting you. Again, spread your awareness through your whole body. Where is support for this area? How does this area connect to other body parts? Come again to a full body movement. Breathe, sigh, make sounds. Observe yourself trustfully, kindly, and with compassion. Good, okay. And then step out of the process once more and walk through your space. Notice, how are you now? Did anything change or not? Like a little individual research, where you in the end find out what happened. And then let's take a third round, again from a balanced position. Ask your body, where does it need attention now? And then put attention there. If you can and want, touch this area and start from stillness and just sensing mindfully and compassionately what is there. And are there any reactions because of this sensing in this quality? Is there anything changing? Support this and take this into slow and gentle movement, listening to what would feel good for this area. And sit mindfully and compassionately and move your body. Trust your body that your body knows what it needs. Breathe and yawn. Also here, notice, are there any feelings and thoughts connected to this sensing and moving? Also appreciate the feelings and the thoughts and let them move also. Again, widen your awareness and your movement. Come to a full body movement. Asking your body, what do you need? Where does it feel more pleasant? Good. Okay, and then again, step out of the process. Notice how you're walking, and also, did anything change in your walking to 20 minutes ago when we started this process? Difference? Is there any development? And let words come to you, as we will share in a minute. What did you experience? Good, and then let's come together again to share. So, we don't have a lot of time, but sharing is important. So, my suggestion, each and every one of you, either 3 sentences about your experience or 3 words. And sometimes 3 single words can tell more than 3 sentences. But it's good to hear each and every one of you. So I will call you out. Let's start with Emma. How are you? What did you experience?
I touched my head, my shoulders, and my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Eileen, how are you? What did you experience?
So I focused on the lower back, the neck, and then the hips. And I experienced a sense of slowing down and softening.
Slowing down and softening. Thank you. Gladys, how are you? What did you experience?
So I touched my neck, my center, and my head. And I actually really felt very centered, and I'm starting to be aware where is the tension points in my body. But there was a sense of calmness, and also when I started walking the 3rd time, I actually felt so rooted into the floor. Thank you.
Rooted into the floor. Yeah. Also, welcome to give written feedback in the chat, as the chat is then, I can print out the chat and can send it to everyone so that we can share. So if you have lots of feedback, please write it down or write it to Emma. Nicola, how are you? What did you experience?
Hello. I'm actually quite unwell at the moment, so I adapted, and it was very nice to. Well, I noticed with a different kind of adaptation is that I'm experiencing a soft, tingly sense of rest.
A soft and tingly sense of rest. Thank you, Nicola. Sarah, are you there? Otherwise, we continue with Amy, how are you? What did you experience?
I think my 3 words would be connecting with substance.
Connecting with substance. Thank you, Amy. Michaela, how are you? What did you experience?
I touch my head, my low back, and my stomach, and I focused on the pain. It was difficult, but it's a process. So it was useful because I could visualize and feel more. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Also, maybe if you try it again, try to focus somewhere else where it's not painful. Maybe it's the pinky finger. And start from there. Because we are all used to there's pain, we have to focus on the pain. But how do we find then the resource? Maybe a tiny little resource somewhere else. So you don't have to focus on the pain. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Loop dance. Whoever, you wrote the feedback. So where are we? Here, hand, right ribs and clavicle. Hand holding and opening was needed. Thank you. Now you shifted on my screen. Heidi, how are you? What did you experience?
I feel very touched, like both physical and mental. And I enjoy switch with like attention outward and inward. And in the end, I feel like it's more balanced. I kind of sense myself in the environment.
More balanced. Yes, thank you, Heidi. Lynn, how are you? What did you experience?
So the first time I went to my legs, and my legs said that they wanted to be on the floor, so I went on the ground and just rolled and felt the touch of the ground. And I guess my other kind of sentence would be that touch is always welcome and a good companion.
How are you now, Lynn?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
You're good. Thank you, Lynn. Penny, how are you? What did you experience?
Well, body says thank you. Expanding, softening. Meeting.
Expanding, softening, and meeting. Yeah. Sarah, are you there? Do you want to share something? Yes. Hello, Sarah. What did you experience?
I had to leave partway through. I'm so sorry and so sad, but I have a leak, a water leak in my house. So I have been waiting for the plumber. So I did a little bit of the movement, and then I had to move out of the room, and I have to go again. It's just a really unfortunate clash, but I very much enjoyed. I just did the first part, and I felt, because I've had a very busy morning, I felt a real sense of returning to my body, really, of calming and returning to a better place, really.
Returning to a better place. Yes. Thank you for sharing. And a lot of what you said could be described as health, like returning to a better place. Also as it is returning, it could be like healing because it's returning to a better place. Yes. Emma, do we still have time, 5 minutes, to open this up for a discussion?
So we've reached time. I'm happy to stay, but obviously I'll let people go who need to go. And obviously people were thoughtful and kind of shared today with their cameras on. So if anyone doesn't want to be in the recording, just drop me an email, that's fine. And I can edit that. And I have put a feedback form in there for anyone who wants to follow up. And if people would like to stay for a little bit longer to talk with Dieter about healing or more broadly about this work, I'm going to stay on. But for those who need to go, that's okay as well.
Yes, I'm there. So Nicola has hands up. And
she says goodbye, I think.
You say goodbye. Oh, no talking, but goodbye. Well, have a good goodbye. Anybody who wants to share something or ask me something or share more about their experience, please speak up.
Go ahead, Penny. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've just very, very much enjoyed seeing how you pulled your mind map, how you pulled that together, and how clear that was, and how that resonates so much with my own work, and this idea of dialoguing. Body dialogue is what I refer to out for my own training with Linda Hartley, but this lovely direct way of asking the body and listening for the answer. It's such a refining process, and that's the work, isn't it? So much around how do I hear, how do I listen? What's that process of being able to do that? So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Penny, for the feedback. Yes, and that's what I also find out. Well, when I develop that and then I see, other people develop their own thing and it's really close to what I developed. So I think it's also a really natural process that if we are listening to our bodies, we find that. Yeah. Gladys, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
Yes, it's like just like what Penny was saying, it's like so much of your work resonates to like my body that is aging as a dancer, and you have like a better understanding of how to work with it with no pressure on it. And it's just this few moments I really felt like trusting my body again, listening to my body again, and then not making assumptions that I can do certain things or not, but actually just allowing me to listen to the body from inside out. And then there's this full connection. And that's why when I was saying that I felt grounded, because just in that listening and understanding what your body is saying, you find yourself centered, not only in your body, but your mind as well. And also, just this few seconds, I could actually feel where certain of my stress levels were, but I could also have a sense of where not to touch, but also where to touch to release that stress. So thank you very much. So that was like sort of my observation.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. This is exactly like we sense where it does hurt, where the pain is, but also there is this knowledge of, what do I have to do to not go in the pain and to go for the pleasure? Yeah. And this is the refinement of our sensing, and then to use the movement as tool to go for that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Gladys.
Yeah, I also appreciated how you brought ideas of healing together and the way you articulated it. I found it really helpful, and the kind of caring model. And then in the movement, it sort of brought attention to kind of areas of tension I didn't realize were there. So now I'm more aware of it, but at the same time, when you said the word pleasure, I kind of went into more kind of fluid movement with it. But so I can still feel places of discomfort, but yeah, somehow it's still kind of moving. So that's something. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And also it's still moving, because once we start this process, then the body continues on its own often. Yeah. So if you feel something or feel like I have to move, this is because your body wants to do this. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else want to say something? No. Do you want to say anything, Dieter, to wrap up today?
Well, it was a pleasure. And also, I'm so delighted when I just hear the feedback to see it works. Yeah. And it's not magic, and it's a very natural process. Yeah. And you can do it with everyone. Yeah. Even with like lots of people online. Yeah. So even if it's a little bit hidden, because this wise women tradition is not so outspoken and not so visible, but in the end, it's very natural and easy to do, and we can share this with lots of people, and also we can share it with our friends and our peers. Yeah, so, and that makes me happy.
Thank you so much for your time today, Dieter, and all the preparation you've put in. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for coming and for sharing generously as well. And I hope to see you again at another point in the future. All
Yeah,
right.
and I do have all your emails through my booking system, and I will send out an email with the PDF, with a link to the recording, and with the chat, because also there some people shared interesting things. And if you want to be cut out or have any concerns, please also answer to this email. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. See you.
Wow, that was great. Thank you. Oh,
Thank
I need to
you.
stop recording.
We can stop the recording. Yeah.